Part 72. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 713. Wow. A boat kept moving forward on the river, at an unhurried speed, mainly because there was no wind. Sailboats are often subject to this. As long as the wind is not strong or there is no wind, the forward speed is very slow. When the forward speed is not fast, you can only rely on people, that is, using oars to make the boat move forward. Yanhua and others were still standing on the board, quietly watching the ship move forward slowly. This was the third day since they left. Do you know how much longer we have? Shalan asked curiously. The cat-eared girl blinked her blue eyes and looked at the river. She felt uncomfortable not knowing her destination. I don't know, I'll find out when AI comes back. Yanhua looked up at the sky. Butterfly Girl has been away for a long time. Several hours have passed since the morning. She should be fine, right? Haven't come back for so long. Shalan fiddled with her blue hair. I'll let Brown go take a look. Yanhua waved her hand and shouted loudly, Brown, come down, I have something to arrange for you. Brown screamed and began to fly down slowly, flying in the sky all morning. It really enjoyed this feeling, the feeling of flying freely in the sky. When it was time to eat, it flew into the forest to find food. Otherwise, if you see some beast sticking its head out from the river, it will suddenly fly down. After Fanfei landed, he stopped at the railing of the boat and kept tilting his head to look at the horned lady. You fly forward to see where AI is. She has been gone all morning and there is still no news. Yanhua ordered. Brown responded, flapped his huge brown wings, flew away from the ship, and began to fly high into the sky. I hope everything is okay, but I came back very quickly in the past 2 days, but today I have to be so late. Shalan was a little worried. It will definitely be fine. She has awakened as a totem warrior, and her strength cannot be underestimated. Yanhua consoled her. That's true, but Niojiao Niang still felt unsure. She just hoped to see the other party as soon as possible. Do you want to take a break? Just let me watch it. Long walked out of the cabin. He has been staying in the cabin these past few days. It's not that he doesn't want to go to the deck and look at the surrounding environment. It's just that every time he wants to come out, he will be rejected by the horn girl and the others. Just let him manage the direction of the ship. There are 2 advantages for us to see the boat. First, we can always pay attention to the surrounding environment and ensure that there will be no problems with the boat. Yanhua turned around and continued. Second, even if there is any problem, such as wild beasts or ferocious beasts, only we can deal with it. She is mainly worried about the safety of everyone on the ship. If Long is asked to guard the surroundings of the ship, a more powerful beast will appear during the period. When Long is not paying attention, she will eat him in one bite, so that the people on the ship will not know the danger. Are you getting close? This will also put the entire ship in danger, so the person guarding it must be a totem warrior. There is nothing wrong in saying that, but you have been standing these days, and I feel a little guilty. Long frowned. Although he was just following orders, and his main task was to watch the ship, he always wanted to help. Otherwise, he would just eat and sleep every day, and there would be no need to worry about the direction of the ship. Control is a big river, as long as you make sure not to bump into it. No problem at all, we have several people here who can take turns. Yanhua waved her hand. Niojiao Niang didn't want to pay attention to the other party anymore, turned around and continued to look at the direction of the ship. From time to time, she kept looking up at the sky in the distance, trying to see if she could catch AI's figure. Shalan was the same, her blue eyes were wide open, for fear of missing something. She suddenly blinked hard, and even reached out and rubbed her hands to see the direction in the distance. Shayan's eyes widened instantly. Pulled Niojiao Niang and shouted, look quickly, are those 2 black figures AI and Brown? The cat-eared girl kept squinting her eyes slightly, trying to make sure she was not wrong. Yanhua looked in the direction pointed by the other party, and indeed found two black shadows, one of which was particularly big. He nodded firmly and said with a smile, "It must be, that big black shadow is a brown, and the small black shadow must be a ir. Puchi, puchi." The sound of flapping wings continued to sound. The two black figures slowly approached from far to near, and the sound slowly appeared. One of the dark figures is indeed a brown, but the other figure is not a ir. "I am coming." Chinchi kept waving his hands in the sky. Yes, the other black figure was Chinchi. The boy wore goggles with a smile on his face. Yanhua saw the other person falling down and asked in confusion, "Why is it you? Where is ir? Is she okay? Seeing you here means we are almost at the sea fish tribe, right?" Shalan asked. This is what the cat-eared girl thought. She felt that ir must have found the sea fish tribe when she was looking for the way ahead. Maybe because she was too tired, she changed to she and came over to say something to them. The current scene appeared. Chinchi nodded without hesitation and said with a smile, "We'll be there in just half a day. Ir is resting in the tribe. Swiss boy likes doing this kind of thing so much. It would be so comfortable to leave the sea fish tribe and fly." "That's good, it's really great that she's okay." Yanhua breathed a long sigh of relief. "My guess was indeed correct, so you met a brown on the way, right?" Shalan asked. Changshi was a little confused, blinking his black eyes and asked, "Is this a brown you are talking about, Shat?" Lan looked at the other person pointing at Feng Ying, nodded and said, "Yes, a brown is its name." A brown shouted loudly as if introducing himself, and flapped his wings. "It has a name after being away for so long. I met it on the way. I could feel that you were letting it come out to find ir, so I let it come with me." Chinchi nodded. "Then move forward quickly, I really want to go to land and take a rest." Yanhua can't wait. She has been on the boat for the past few days. Considering the active character of Niojiao Niang, it is really boring. During these few days on the boat, the only fun is to see the fish that emerge from the river. Wild beasts and ferocious beasts. If wild beasts and ferocious beasts attack, Yanhua will be even happier because she can use her fists and kicks. "Move forward now," Chinchi also shouted happily. Second update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 714. Chinchi was a little belated and didn't react. He stood on the board and suddenly froze. He kept widening his black eyes, feeling a little at a loss for a moment, and asked dumbfounded, "What is this?" "This is the ship that Swift Boy will have in the future, and this is the first time he has seen this ship." It was his first time to learn about such a thing as a boat, which shocked him a lot. He didn't think about it at first, but now that he calmed down, he felt something was wrong. Why doesn't everyone sink to the bottom of the river when they are on the surface? The most important thing is, what is this thing? Why can it float on the river for so long and carry so many people? Chinchi had so many doubts that he felt at a loss for a moment and didn't know what he was doing. "This is called a boat, and it was made by witches. Isn't it amazing?" Yanhua explained happily. "Boat? What is a ship?" Chinchi looked confused. The boy didn't know what a boat was, because he was not in the Yanlong tribe when the boat was launched. And when Subai wanted to make the boat, he didn't know about it, because everyone it's done secretly. "It's just transportation, but this time it's on the water," Yanhua continued to explain. "It turned out to be a means of transportation, I understood." Chinchi suddenly understood. The boy was still familiar with transportation. The tribe had horse-drawn carriages before. At that time, the introduction said that horse-drawn carriages were vehicles. Vehicles are used to replace walking. This is very easy to understand. "This is amazing, you can walk on the river for a long time." The more Yanhua talked, the more interested she became. "Is this true?" Chinchi couldn't believe it. He always felt that the ship looked weird, especially because the shape resembled a leaf. But after all, it was made of wood. Wouldn't it be broken after being attacked? This was something he really liked confused. Of course, we came out of the tribe on this boat, and we have been traveling for so many days. What do you think? Yanhua stood up straight. That was really amazing, I loved it. Chinchi couldn't be happier. He kept happily walking around on the board, sometimes looking here and sometimes there, feeling that everything he looked at was magical. If you are very tired, you can go into the cabin to rest. Shalan pointed to the inside of the cabin. Who did this? It's really clever to be able to make wood into this shape. Chinchi sighed. He saw that the two ends of the ship were upturned, and there was a house similar to a wooden house in the middle. He had never seen it before. This idea must be Wu's idea, no one else would have thought of this method. Shalan explained. I knew that only a witch could think of this method, and no one else could think of it. Chinchi's inner thoughts were confirmed. After Yanhua explained enthusiastically, he began to ask, how long will it take for us to arrive? This is the third day since I came out. The horn girl was withdrawn from her happy mood, but she still wanted to know how far away she was from her destination. Didn't I just finish what I said? We'll be there soon. Chinchi's thoughts are all on the boat now. It's really great. You can go to the sea fish tribe right away, but it's a very short time. Yanhua began to look forward to it. According to this time, 3 days is really nothing, but it can be said to be very short. If you want to walk, it will take more than 3 days, not more than 10 days. It's impossible to get off. But after all, it's not as fast as the hot air balloon. It only takes a little more than 2 days for the hot air balloon to get to the beach. Wow! The boat kept driving on the river, and after more than 4 hours, it began to slowly approach the sea fish tribe. In other words, they finally saw the sea, and a big river flowed straight forward. At the end, it slowly divided into the sea, and the boat also slowly sailed along the river next to it and into the sea. Afterwards, following Cheng Shi's guidance, the boat headed all the way to the Haiu tribe. When we arrived at the seaside, everything happened quickly. Because the sea fish tribe was close to the sea, they parked their boats and started landing. After arriving at the shore, it took more than an hour to arrive at the sea fish tribe. At this moment, the sea tribe is no longer what it was before. There are no slaves in the Haiu tribe. Everyone lives in peace. Of course, this is all under the leadership of Kyangu. It's been a while since I've been here, and I feel like I've changed a lot. Sha looked around in surprise. When I came here before, it was very dirty and messy, with garbage everywhere. There were also some bad smells emitting everywhere and everywhere. The most terrible thing is that these smells are all different. All kinds of things, all mixed together, make people feel uncomfortable when they smell it. It is indeed different, but it should all be led by Uncle Kyrgu, otherwise it would not be like this. Yanhua also glanced at Friday. Nyojiao Niang was not very surprised when she saw the changes in the sea fish tribe. In her opinion, this will change sooner or later. The Yanlong tribe has become very good. There is no reason for the sea fish tribe to return to Yan. After the dragon tribe was managed, it got worse and worse, right? Let me take you to see the chief first. He has just finished his work today. Chinchi is leading the way. Okay, where is Air? Shalan asked curiously. She has been arranged to rest in the tent, and she will come to us when she wakes up, Chinchi said. Tap tap tap. Everyone stepped into the chief's tent, explained what they had come here for today, and then left. They planned to stay one night at the Haiu tribe and wait until tomorrow morning before setting off back to the Yanlong tribe. All the soldiers brought here this time have also stayed behind, in order to assist Haiu development. It seems that the people here are still a little reluctant, and I hope they can change after a while. Yanhua frowned. She could feel the dissatisfaction of the people of the original Haiu tribe, and they had not surrendered to the Yanlong tribe at all. But it was also said, how could a tribe that was originally independent be willing to surrender to other tribes? However, they were too ungrateful. Even though it was a witch who saved them, they still refused to acknowledge it. Shalan was a little speechless. Under the leadership of Uncle Kyrgu, they will definitely change slowly. Yanhua raised her eyebrows slightly. Nyojiao Niang definitely believed this, because witches have an inexplicable magical power that can make people willingly surrender. I think so too. Shalan said with a smile. Let's go see other places. Yanhua walked in front. Please update for support and customization. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 715. Subai felt a little hungry when he woke up from his nap, so he asked the fox-eared lady to prepare something to eat. They are all small snacks, not a real meal, just like afternoon tea on the other side of the earth. Originally there was no such ritual as afternoon tea in the tribe, but I often felt hungry in the afternoon. It's still a long time before dinner time, so it's impossible to stay up until the evening without eating. Gradually, afternoon tea emerged. As the name suggests, afternoon tea is an activity such as eating some desserts and drinking tea. The main purpose is just to fill the stomach, and there is no requirement to eat until full. So what is prepared for afternoon tea are some baked sweet potato slices or roasted sweet potatoes, or some bread and fruit. Of course, the preparation of these foods was taught by Subai, so he naturally enjoyed eating them. Wu, do you still like today's afternoon tea? Yu Ying asked with some anticipation. Fox Ear Girl tried her best to innovate and wanted to make the afternoon tea style different every day, so that she would not get tired of eating it. It's not bad, it would be nice if there was less sugar. Subai smiled slightly and kept shaking the teacup in his hand. Today's afternoon tea is cake. The fox-eared lady learned this 2 days ago and only made it today. Obviously, according to Subai's words, this is the cake. There was a slight failure in making it. However, the cakes in the primitive era were not filled with cream like the cakes on the other side of the earth. In fact, they were made of some wild eggs and wheat flour. It is useless to say how delicious they are. In fact, the main purpose is to eat them. The texture of the cake is a bit similar to cupcakes from the other side of the earth. Ah! Did I put too much sugar again? Yu Ying's pink eyes widened in an instant. Obviously, listening to fox-eared lady's words, she knew that she had failed many times before, and the reason for the failure was too much sugar. Ha 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 ha, Subai smiled heartily, shook his head and said the overall feeling is still very good, just pay a little more attention. He did not dare to expect too much. In fact, it was already very good for people from primitive tribes to do this. Not everyone can do so well the first time they make a cake, and they just learn it once. I remember. Yu Ying nodded seriously. The fox-eared girl still felt a little guilty, and kept lowering her head and playing with her fingers. The pink foxtail also drooped down in frustration, and her mood suddenly became much depressed. It really doesn't matter, I won't blame you. Subai touched the other person's head and continued to ask how is the canned fruit production going. At this time, he could only change the topic, but he didn't want to see the fox-eared lady continue to be unhappy. This trick really worked. Yu Ying immediately raised her head and smiled, and said everything is made. Take off the previous ones. The oranges that came down were all canned. Are they all placed in a cool place? Be sure not to be exposed to the sun, Subai warned. It wasn't exposed to the sun at all, so it was placed in the cellar dug earlier. Yu Ying's expression was particularly serious. Fox Ear Girl didn't dare to be careless about this matter. She personally watched those people move in. The Yanlong tribe's cellar had been dug before, and they were practicing saltpeter making at that time. When there is ice, we have people dig it. It is not difficult to dig a cellar. The Yanlong tribe has such a labor force now. All we need to do is arrange some people to dig according to the regulations. That's good. Nothing stored in the cellar is broken, right? Subai continued to ask. He had not visited the cellar since it was dug, so he did not know the situation there. Don't worry, Wu, the cellar is exactly what you said. It's very cool inside. I think it's best to store food in it. Yu Ying's pink foxtail stood up and she continued, and the ice cubes placed inside can also last longer. The fox-eared lady is very interested in that cellar and will go there to take a look whenever she has time. And in such a hot weather now, it is a pleasure to go into the cellar. It is precisely because the weather is very hot that the existence of a cellar is very necessary. With the plant growth technique, those crops grow very fast. They can be harvested almost every 3 to 5 days, but there is no way to digest so many crops at once. Then the storage problem becomes the biggest problem. There is no such thing as a refrigerator in this era. The only place for storage is a cold cellar. Because it is dug very deep, the temperature under the ground is lower than the surface. The people of the tribe are not casual. Those who can get these crops can't get it if they don't work hard. That being the case, remember to give more of that ice to the chiefs, they need it in such a hot weather. Subai still respects them very much. The most important thing for this tribe is to have them. Without them, it will be difficult for them to do things by themselves. No matter how smart they are, no matter how smart people are, they need helpers. They would go there together according to the profit distribution every day, especially the chief, Uncle Gumu and Uncle Shan Shan, who would get more, Yu Ying said seriously. Originally, these things were all the cat's lady to worry about, but recently the cat's lady has to train soldiers and go out with the ship. She really doesn't have much energy to take charge of these things, so naturally it fell on the fox-eared girl. Very good, since there is a lot of saltpeter anyway, it is not difficult to make ice cubes. Subai took a sip of tea and continued to ask, I heard that people from other tribes also come from another continent. Although he stays in Yong'an building every day, he will hear some things more or less. Yes, the witch seems to be from the Daihu tribe, and his name seems to be, it's called Ci. Yu Ying tried hard to remember. Isn't it Luzi who also entered our tribe? What did they say? Subai said curiously. He was still very curious about the other continent. After all, he would go there one day to have a look. Before going there, he didn't want people from other tribes to take away people from his own tribe. I specifically asked someone to ask Luzi, and she said that the other person asked her to follow them to their tribe. Yu Ying added some tea to the cup. Subai became interested, raised his black eyebrows slightly, and asked what about the result. Of course he knew the result, but he was still curious whether the result was what he thought. Luzi refused directly, saying that she was from the Yanlong tribe, and that the Yanlong tribe was very good. Yu Ying said what she heard. Really, the corners of Subai's mouth raised slightly. Second update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 716. Wu, what's wrong? Yu Ying asked doubtfully. It's nothing, just what I expected. Subai smiled faintly. The answer in his heart was that the other party would not follow Ci to the Daihu tribe. It was exactly what he thought. How could Wu be so sure? If Luzi paid more attention to her clan members, she might have left. Yu Ying blinked her pink eyes. The fox-eared lady added some tea to the empty teacup and looked at the wizard with curiosity. What do you think of life in our tribe? Subai asked back. Life in our tribe is very good, and has never been better, Yu Ying said without hesitation. Fox-ear girl was a little confused. She didn't know why Wu suddenly asked these words, which seemed different from her own question just now. Then how do you think other tribes compare with our tribe? Subai continued to ask. Sometimes he still likes to ask rhetorical questions, because he thinks that instead of explaining a lot by himself, it is better to slowly understand the other person. In this way, the answer will be easy. When you get out of the water, the other party can understand better. I don't know how many tribes there are, but as far as I know, among the tribes, there is no tribe whose life is better than ours, Yu Ying said firmly. In other words, the Earth Tiger tribe is definitely not as good as our Yanlong tribe, right? Subai asked with a smile. Yes, when Alu from the Green Vine tribe came, he roughly talked about the situation of other tribes, and it was true that they were not as good as our tribe. Yu Ying nodded without hesitation. Since the Earth Tiger tribe is not as good as our Yanlong tribe, why did Luza leave? Subai picked up a cup of tea with a smile and continued. She leads many of their tribesmen and will not lead a bad life easily. What he wants to express is this. A person will always choose the advantage among the advantages and disadvantages. This is human nature, seek advantages and avoid disadvantages. I understand. In our tribe, we don't have to worry about food and clothing. As long as we work hard, we will have food, and the place to live is not bad. Yu Ying suddenly understood and continued. So even though Luza likes Ci as a good friend, she will not leave for the sake of her tribe. That's absolutely correct. They have no reason to leave, not to mention they all have stable jobs, Subai said softly. Then I feel relieved. At first I was worried that our music teacher was leaving. Yu Ying breathed a sigh of relief. By the way, how are the studies of those little kids doing? Subai asked. It's been a while since he taught the furry children how to read, and now he has given all the responsibility to the fox-eared girls. He only needs to be responsible for teaching literacy to the cat-eared girls and the horned girls, and there will be dedicated staff for the rest. People teach furry children how to read. It's still the same as before, the learning progress is not urgent, but I'm learning well, reported by Yu Yinghui. Let them learn slowly, after all, there is no need to rush in the beginning. Subai took a sip of tea lightly. I feel the same way, but they have learned very well, at least they no longer understand nothing like before. Yu Ying nodded. The fox-eared lady was actually saying that she didn't know anything before, and she only knew how to follow the women of the tribe to do some handicrafts. Life like now has never been imagined by anyone. I didn't know I would become a Maiko. And I want you to see if there are any talented people in the tribe. How is this matter going? Subai asked. In order for the tribe to develop rapidly, it is indispensable to need the help of some capable people. One person often cannot accomplish big things. Even if you have a powerful mind, you still need someone to help you do things. It is being collected. I believe there will be news soon, Yu Ying said immediately. Well, people with some talent should be retained and trained well, and they can also help the tribe a lot, Subai said lightly. Yes, Yu Ying's soft voice sounded. Subai put down the teacup, stretched his body, and said, there is nothing to do today. Let me teach you to make something interesting. Yu Ying immediately became energetic, her pink foxtail kept wagging, and she asked, what are you going to do? Something interesting. Fox-eared lady likes this moment so much. Every time she makes something, it's very interesting. Whether it's food or practical things, in short, anything made by a witch is very shocking. Didn't I give you a packet of narcissus seeds before? It must have been blooming for so many days, right? Subai asked. Yes, when I went to look at the farmland this morning, the daffodils in the flower field were already blooming. Yu Ying nodded repeatedly. Some time ago, a pack of narcissus seeds were opened from the system, and Subai asked the fox-eared lady to plant them. In addition to farmland at the entrance of the tribe, there is also a separate piece of land divided into flower fields. The land area is not very wide, only as big as a basketball court. It is mainly used to grow roses, lilies, and some exotic flowers and plants picked from the forest. Let people pick some and bring them back, so that you can become beautiful today. Subai smiled mysteriously. When the narcissus seeds bloomed, what he was thinking about was nothing else. It was some scenes from ancient TV series on the other side of the earth, that is, About girls. Can daffodils make me beautiful? Yu Ying was a little confused and asked Wu, is it worn on the head? There are many beauty-loving women in the tribe who do this. They often pick some flowers and wear them on their heads. Or pin them on their waists to make them look more charming. Of course, this is just to court a mate. This happens when you are young, and most of the time you don't wear flowers. It looks good, but it is very inconvenient when you are working. You have to worry about whether the flowers on your head will fall off. As time goes by, no one wears them. There are flowers, and they are carefully arranged during the Pink Flower Festival every year. It's not worn on the head, it looks too tacky. Subai shook his head. He didn't like having a big daffodil on his head. It looked too strange. The point is that the flower will easily wither after being picked. It would be too wasteful to wear it on the head. Yu Ying pursed her cherry lips and asked doubtfully, Wu, is it going to be used to make perfume? The fox-eared lady is a little confused. All she can think of is making perfume. Of course, it is not for making perfume. Narcissus does not have much fragrance when making perfume. Subai is still showing off. Then I'll go and have someone pick it back first. Yu Ying's curiosity was aroused. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 717. Yu Ying brought back a lot of daffodils and put them all on the table. She first smelled the daffodils and said doubtfully, which, the daffodils have been picked back. Not to mention, the fox-eared lady likes daffodils very much. She thinks the name is very nice and the flowers that bloom are also very beautiful. Pretty. So I would go to the flower fields every day when I had no time. In addition to lighting up the roses and lilies, I spent the most time admiring the daffodils. Want to know what I asked you to do with the daffodils? Subai asked mysteriously. Yu Ying nodded without hesitation and asked expectantly, what can daffodils do? It's not used to make perfume, nor is it used to be worn on the head. The fox-eared lady can't think of what else to do. Stick your nails out. Subai smiled. Yu Ying stretched out her hand belatedly and said in confusion, what do you want my fingers to do? Daffodils can dye your nails. There are beauty-loving girls in my hometown who do this. Subai pinched the other person's fingers and continued, girls also look good when they dye their nails. Wu, is this true? Yu Ying couldn't believe her ears. She looked at her other hand and the pink and white nails on her fingers, and fell into deep thought for a moment. The fox-eared girl was thinking about what she would look like if her nails were dyed. What kind of thing? This has never happened before. I would never even think about it, so I was particularly shocked when I heard it. How? Don't like it? Subai asked. In fact, it's normal not to like it. Everyone is different on the other side of the earth. Some people like to do nails, and some people don't. Some people like plain nails, while some people just like to be fancy. Yes, everyone has different preferences. No dislike, I was just wondering what it would be like. Yu Ying shook her head quickly. Fox-eared lady, you want to try it? Dyeing your nails with color is so novel. You must try this. You'll know once you try it, Subai said with a smile. When he opened the narcissus seeds from the system, what he was thinking about was the palace fighting drama on the other side of the earth. In the ancient harem, the concubines also loved beauty, in addition to their daily dressing up. The most important things are the external ones, and gorgeous jewelry and clothes definitely don't count. At this time, the comparison is just some shining points on the face or body. The face is nothing more than those, rouge, gouache, and some eyebrow gel. They invented nail dyeing when they had nothing to do. The fingernails of those high-ranking concubines were very long. In addition to wearing armor, some people came up with the idea of dyeing some colors on the nails to make them look like it will also match the clothes you are wearing. In ancient times, there was no such thing as nail polish, and the only pigments could only be extracted from plants. After several studies and coincidences, they discovered the narcissus flower. Plant the plant and use its pigment to dye the nails, and the color will be preserved for a long time. Over time, after several improvements, the method of dyeing nails with narcissus has been slowly spread. Wu, do you need me to prepare anything else? Yu Ying asked expectantly. The fox-eared lady wanted to start quickly. This was so exciting. What girl wouldn't want to try it? No need, I've got someone else ready, Subai said lightly. To dye your nails with daffodils, you don't just need daffodils, you also need to use white vinegar and alum. Wu, let's get started. Yu Ying couldn't wait any longer. The fox-eared lady's pink foxtail kept wagging, and her face was full of anticipation. Is nothing going to happen if you wait a moment? You have to arrange things first, nail dyeing can take a long time. Subai asked. Yu Ying thought about it carefully, shook her head and said, there is nothing left. Even if it is a small matter. Just let them do it. It's still early before dinner time. After thinking about it, fox-eared girl didn't have anything else to do. Okay then, wash your hands and remove the excess from your nails, Subai ordered. Good, Yu Ying responded happily. Subai asked others to pick the narcissus flowers. Put them all in a wooden basin. Then he added a few drops of vinegar and alum into it to fully mix these things. Mix it up. Yu Ying looked at those things curiously and asked Wu, can you just put your finger in it? The fox-eared lady is a little anxious and can't wait to see what nail dyeing looks like. Ha ha ha, Subai smiled heartily and said, that's right, but there is a better way. A better way, Yu Ying couldn't help but point her chin with her index finger. The fox-eared lady looked at the red stuff in the wooden basin and was particularly curious. After the daffodils were disturbed, she could still smell a faint fragrance. Subai waved to the side. Two maids came over and said, I will only practice it once, you have to watch. Yes, the two maids nodded. Subai took the lead in scooping some narcissus with a wooden spoon and stained it on the fox-eared girl's nails, and then used two small leaves to wrap the nails. He fixed them with small vines, warned just leave it like this for a while, and then you can remove the small leaves on it when I agree. Wu, can you dye your nails like this? Yu Ying looked at her nails in surprise. Yes, after taking it off after a while, your nails will be dyed the color of daffodils. Subai nodded and ordered, follow what I did just now and wrap all the rest of her fingernails. Yes, the two maids nodded. Yu Ying kept stretching out her hands for the maids to operate, her pink eyes widening all the time. She thought the scene was really amazing, and her fingernails looked very funny. This is also my first time trying it. Whether I can successfully apply the color depends on how I remove it, Subai said lightly. Although there are lessons learned from this, there will always be differences in practice. I think it can definitely be dyed, Yu Ying said firmly. The fox-eared lady was so confident before seeing the nails after disassembly. After all, she still trusted Subai too much. Because since Wu took over the tribe has been reforming, and the direction of reform is it's always been good. Until now, Wu's actions have not disappointed the people of the tribe. Only this time the fox-eared lady is so sure. Good, Subai smiled heartily. Second update, please support and customize. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 718. Yu Ying looked at her nails happily. The nails were wrapped in small leaves, which looked very funny. She shook her fingers and asked happily, Wu, I can't feel anything in my fingers. You won't feel anything. If you feel it, it means you are allergic and not suitable, Subai explained. Wu, I'm really looking forward to what color it will be, Yu Ying happily shook her pink foxtail. Subai blinked his black eyes, smiled and prepared for other things. There was a lot more paper on the table. Wu, what are you going to do? Yu Ying asked curiously. When arranging work for tribesmen, it must be broken down into some segments, Subai said seriously. Arrange jobs for tribal people, Yu Ying tilted her head and asked. Subai nodded and said seriously, yes, the work now is too complicated and looks very chaotic. The current work of the Yanlong tribe is very messy, and everyone's division of labor is also very unclear. The most important thing is that the types of work are very confusing, and there is no special career plan. Sometimes it is difficult to measure the distribution of some food. I don't know what the witch is going to do. Yu Ying asked curiously. I plan to divide the work into several major categories, and each major category will have a fixed distribution of food, so that it will not be difficult for the tribesmen to manage, Subai said lightly. He doesn't have much time yet to break down the rewards for each job. It takes too much time and energy. Wu, I don't know what it means. Yu Ying looked innocent. For example, doesn't our tribe have toilets now? Subai saw the other party nodded and continued. Cleaning toilets is divided into the same category as cleaning roads and houses. Yu Zhang nodded heavily and continued to look at the other person with his pink eyes. In addition, those who clean stables, sheep pens, etc. are also divided into one category. People who work in this category can get similar food, Subai explained. This was one of the ways he thought of dividing the work into several major categories. It was impossible to subdivide it into how much food was allocated to those who clean the streets, and how much food was allocated to those who clean toilets. In this way, he would divide the work into several categories every day. There was a lot of work to be done, so I thought of dividing the rewards into major categories. Of course, now all working people in the tribe can be allocated food, but the amount of food they can allocate is the same. No matter what they do, no matter what job people work in, they get exactly the same food. In this way, it is very unfair to those who sit and work hard. Sometimes the work is obviously more and heavier than yours. Why can't they do it? Get more food. It's just the early stage now, and everyone will definitely not think anything of it, but when the tribe slowly develops, there will be a lot of opinions. He doesn't want to trap Wang Yanghai in the People's War, and he needs to know the people of the tribe. It would be difficult for him to join forces to provoke him. It's not that he is completely afraid that they will threaten his life and safety, but it will not help the development of the tribe. It may even lead to the destruction of the entire tribe. In this you must prepare for a rainy day when things don't happen. I understand, people with similar job types are divided into one category, right? Yu Ying blinked her pink eyes and continued, in this way, they can get the same food. Yes, the understanding is very good. Different types of jobs have different food. Subai picked up the tea that had just been filled and continued, in this way, everyone will have more choices and will work more diligently. He definitely doesn't want everyone to think that no matter what job they do, the food they can get is the same. As long as they feel this way, everyone will choose easy jobs. In this case, who will do the heavy work? So the remuneration of work must be completely broken down to the extent that it is transparent and open to everyone and everyone has a choice. Wu, do you need my help? Yu Ying also thinks this is very good. It's okay, your fingers haven't been completely stained yet, don't worry yet. Subai waved his hand. He took out paper and a quill, and began to list all the tribe's tasks. Only by writing out all the tasks first can they be slowly assigned to the corresponding categories. Workers who move stones, workers who polish stones, workers who make plant ash cement. Subai muttered to himself and wrote on the paper. He raised his head and continued, workers who build houses, etc., these are all divided into one big category. He took the lead in classifying this category. It's all about some heavy lifting. Naturally, the heavier the work, the more food you will get, and there will even be some extra rewards. Next is the textile category, which includes classifying rami, weaving it into threads, and making it into cloth. Subai continued to write on the paper and muttered to himself, everyone is divided into one category up to the cutting point. Everyone can get 3 pieces of meat per kilogram every day. He was taking notes very seriously, which job should be divided into which category should be paid, etc. These were all written down on the paper in detail. Of course, all the weight units written on the paper, such as 1 pound, 2 pounds, or 3 pounds, were all written by Subai himself. The people of the tribe don't know these weight units for the time being, and most of them are calculated in terms of 1 stone. Subai just wrote down the values according to his own convenience, and then changed them when he really wanted to implement them. Or consider whether to promote weight units in the tribe. After all, measurement units have been promoted before. It is not difficult to promote another weight unit, as long as we explain it more. A few hours later, Subai finally got busy with the classification work in his hands and wrote several sheets of paper densely. There are several types of jobs densely displayed on the paper, and the corresponding remuneration and income are also marked under the jobs. Time passed slowly, and at dusk, Yu Ying trotted all the way to the witch. She calmed her breathing and asked happily, "Wu, it's been such a long time, can I take it apart and take a look?" The fox-eared girl couldn't wait, and she would look out the window at the sky from time to time, wanting to take a look. Has it gotten darker outside? She knew that as soon as the sky began to get closer to dusk, it meant that the daffodils on her hands were almost dyed. It's okay, take it apart and take a look. Subai was also a little curious. Yu Ying swallowed hard. To be honest, she was a little nervous. She slowly stretched out her hand. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 719. Subai had someone remove the small leaf bag on fox-eared lady's hand, and saw that all the nails were dyed a light pink. He nodded with satisfaction and said, "This color is not bad, it looks like summer. The first time I dyed my nails with daffodils, it seemed to be a success, and the color distribution on each nail was even." Woo, did it really succeed? Yu Ying kept her eyes closed and didn't dare to look. The fox-eared lady stretched out her hands straight and held them with all her 10 fingers, but she didn't dare to open her eyes and look. Ha ha ha, Lu Feng smiled heartily and said, "Open your eyes and take a look." This time it was a success. After hearing this, Yu Ying slowly opened a crack, first fully opening one eye, and slowly aimed at her own finger. When she saw the faint pink on her fingernails, she suddenly became happy and her voice became cheerful. "It's really beautiful." "Is this dyed with daffodils?" The fox-eared girl kept stretching out her fingers to look at it. "Look at the color on the nail plate carefully. I found that the color on each nail is very beautiful, and the color distribution is very clear and even." "Do you remember how to make it?" Subai asked. "Now that the daffodil-dyed nails have been made successfully, we just need to promote this to the tribe." "Already remembered, it's very simple." Yu Ying nodded very firmly. While she was waiting for her fingernails to be dyed, she paid special attention to the production process. "Just remember it and arrange it for Ahua and the others when they come back. I think they will like it," Subai said with a smile. He knew that no girl could resist the temptation of dyeing her nails, and who didn't want to look better. "They will definitely like it," Yu Ying nodded repeatedly. "I plan to open a nail salon in the tribe, which will attract many girls from the big tribe," Subai said lightly. This was the first thing that came to his mind. You must know that girls' money is the best to earn on that side of the earth. It is the same no matter in which era, especially in the primitive era. There are some people with noble status. Naturally, women don't want to be like ordinary people. If making manicure is a status symbol for her, they will definitely flock to it. "Manicure store? Woo, is this the store that does this manicure?" Yu Ying stretched out her hand. Subai nodded and said softly, "Yes, it is a store that specializes in dyeing the nails of girls from other tribes. This is also a good idea, and it will definitely bring back a lot of dried meat for our tribe. Yu Ying agrees very much. Business will definitely be very good by then. As a girl, she must understand girls better. Since you just wrote down the production steps, you can also select a few more trustworthy people later and train them. Su Bai took a sip of tea and continued. Let's arrange for the nail salon to open in the next 2 days. There is no need to prepare anything. Opening a nail salon is the lowest cost thing. You only need to have enough daffodils in the flower field. And prepare some wooden blocks with a rough side. These wooden blocks are used to polish nails. Let the nails look beautiful. It looks smoother, and the color produced by applying daffodils on it will be more even. Yes, I will arrange training for the personnel, and I will definitely let them keep the secret. Yu Ying responded seriously. Remember to make it clear to them that once these things are leaked, they will be kicked out of the tribe directly. Subai warned. In this era, in addition to the death penalty, being kicked out of the tribe is also a very cruel punishment. After being kicked out of the tribe, there is no support for the tribe, and death is often what awaits them. I will definitely explain what the witch said clearly. I think they know the seriousness of the matter. Yu Ying nodded. She felt that people from the Yanlong tribe would not do such a thing. After all, they lived such a good life in the tribe. It is impossible to abandon such a good life and risk being kicked out of the tribe. Is this news leaked? Unless they really don't want to live anymore, or have a better place to go, then the secret will be exposed. I also want to add to them that after the news is leaked, they will be investigated first, and anyone who has no one behind it will be kicked out of the tribe. Subai paused and continued. If there is someone behind you, everyone will die if caught. He had to consider this. If they had someone behind them, they would not be affected even if they were kicked out of the tribe. Wu was very thoughtful, and I didn't even think of this. Yu Ying suddenly realized. Just being kicked out of the tribe would be too light a punishment for them, especially when they have someone behind them. The nail salon is located in a large market so that everyone can see it while shopping. Subai arranged. He originally didn't want to place these daily necessities in the big market. He wanted to open a separate store for them outside. But now that he thinks about it, the most attractive thing about the Yanlong tribe is the large market. Market. If putting a nail salon inside can attract more people, there will be no need to worry about where to locate it. When the Yanlong tribe develops more and more in the later period, then separate stores related to life can be arranged separately. Just one area is fine. Yes, I will look at the arrangements and choose the most suitable place. Yu Ying blinked her pink eyes. The fox-eared girl has begun to mature slowly, and is no longer the timid little girl before. Now, as long as she arranges some things for her to do, as long as they are not too difficult, she can complete them easily. Outstanding. Good, Subai said with a smile, sat back down and prepared to continue working. Wu, it's getting late. I'll take care of this matter tomorrow. What would you like to eat tonight? Yu Ying looked out the window and the sky was already dark. The sounds of birds, insects, and beasts roaring kept sounding, suddenly pulling people into the night. But the fox-eared girl was not afraid, as she must have been before. She was so afraid to go out. Ever since she lived in Yong'an building, she felt particularly at ease. No matter how loud the beasts screamed outside, it was still fine for her. Look at what crops are harvested the most today and just use that one. Subai raised his head and said. He has been choosing food like this recently. He doesn't look at what he wants to eat, but looks at what is the most in the inventory. Although these foods are very easy to come by, they cannot be wasted casually. They still have to be prepared in advance. Eat some in large quantities. I know, wheat porridge with tomatoes and wild eggs tonight. Yu Ying smiled happily. Second update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 720. Wow! In the early morning, the boat kept sailing on the river, and Yanhua was still standing on the board as usual. She kept blinking her red eyes and looking at the situation ahead, not daring to slack off at all. So I don't know if anything will happen at this moment, so it's always right to be cautious. How long until we can go back? Shalan asked curiously. The cat-eared girl was the same, her blue eyes were always staring at the river, and her expression became particularly serious. I don't know. We'll find out when Air comes back. Based on the previous time, it shouldn't take long, right? Yanhua guessed. The last time we went there, it only took more than 3 days, and today is already the 4th day. If we follow the same time as last time, we can reach the Yanlong tribe at about noon or afternoon. Got it? In terms of time, it is indeed about the same. Shalan breathed a sigh of relief. The cat-eared girl missed the stone house of the Yanlong tribe a little bit, and she also missed her own bed and quilt. But I didn't expect that it would only take us more than 3 days to reach the Haiu tribe. I thought it would take a long time, Yanhua said suddenly. The more she thought about it, the more emotional she became. She had to admire the power of the means of transportation invented by Wu. Without means of transportation, it would not only take 3 days to go to the sea fish tribe. If it were just walking, it would not take more than a month or 2. You can't get off. And the level of danger is far greater than taking a boat. Some people are even eaten by ferocious beasts within a few days of setting off. Even if that person is lucky enough to escape the pursuit of ferocious beasts, the forest is unpredictable. Who knows? I don't know what will happen. People who enter the forest sometimes die not from the mouths of vicious beasts, but from the strange things in the forest. If it hadn't been for this boat, we would have taken a hot air balloon ride, Shalan said. I think hot air balloons are also very dangerous. If the balloon bursts accidentally, I'm afraid we will be doomed. Yanhua looked up at the sky. Yes, but taking a boat is not very safe, and things on the side of the boat have to be changed all the time. Shalan frowned. The plants hanging next to the boat must be changed all the time. Once they lose their smell, they must be replaced. Otherwise, hanging them on the boat will have no effect, and the ferocious beasts in the river will start to move around. The peak eagle slowly flew down from high altitude, its huge wings flapping powerfully. Yanhua looked up, but did not extend her hand. She just watched Feng Ying land on the fence. She could no longer reach out her hand to let the eagle stop, because it was too big. If the peak eagle rests on the hand, I'm afraid the hand will be broken. The peak eagle has grown too fast, and its current size is twice its previous size. It seems that you are full again. Yanhua touched the other party's head. The peak eagle screamed loudly and flapped its wings. It looked like it was very happy. Come back earlier next time and don't leave too far away all at once. Yanhua warned. Otherwise, you will have to worry every time. Once you leave, you will be away for a long time and no one will know what happened. Feng Ying flapped his wings as if he understood, his brown eyes particularly bright. Wow! There was movement in the river again. The sound was sometimes loud and sometimes shallow. It was impossible to capture where it was coming from. Pu-chi, Pu-chi. The peak eagle also noticed the abnormality, and immediately gave a high cry, and kept flapping its wings. Everyone, please be careful, another vicious beast has appeared. Yanhua became alert. What will it be this time? Shalan and Horn Girl stood back to back, neither exposing their backs to the enemy. Yanhua waved the saber in her hand, her red eyes extremely serious, preparing to deal with the ferocious beasts in the river. She fiddled with it. The man with long black hair said, I don't know what kind of ferocious beast it is. It doesn't sound like it's very big. Yes, the sound of water flow is very small, it must be a little beast. Shalan also guessed. She mustered up her courage and started walking towards the fence, with the crocodile knife in her hand ready. Tap tap tap. Shalan leaned against the fence and looked at the water, only to see a small water bag floating on the water. She widened her blue eyes and said, "It doesn't seem like a ferocious beast. I can't feel the murderous intent." "Let me see." Yanhua also came over, but she didn't put down the saber in her hand. The peak eagle suddenly flew up, flapping its wings, and flew towards the bulging water bag. "Wow!" Fenying pierced hard, stretched his feet towards the bulging water bag, grabbed it and flew up. Snap! It swung hard and threw the object caught with its claws onto the board of the ship. Crackling! The beast on the ship's board kept tumbling and thrashing against the ship's board. "Well done, Ah Brown." Yanhua raised her head to encourage Fenying. Shalan frowned and kept looking at the captured beast carefully. She blinked her blue eyes and asked doubtfully, "What kind of beast is this? Why have I never seen it before?" The cat-eared girl bravely walked towards the beast with very cautious steps. The beast was all light blue and looked very much like the otter on the other side of the earth, but this beast looked cuter. The big front teeth are particularly conspicuous, and the black eyes are particularly bright, just like an innocent child. Yes, but it looks so cute. Yanhua also felt very strange. The two of them kept approaching the beast, holding each other's hands, for fear of what the beast would do. Tap tap tap. After hearing the noise, Long came out of the cabin and saw the beast on the board at a glance. He stared in surprise with his eyes widened, and said in shock, "Isn't this a water civet?" "Beaver." Shalan turned around in confusion. This was the first time she heard this name. "What a strange name. I've never seen it before, but it's cute." Yanhua's eyes are still on that beast. This ferocious beast is rare and almost no one has ever seen it. Unexpectedly, it appears here now. Long was particularly surprised. The way he looked at it was as if he were looking at a treasure. It was obvious how precious this beast was. "Is it powerful? Or what?" Yanhua asked curiously. "It looks so good that I want to be hugged." Shalan really thinks that the other party is very cute. "No, it is very strong and cannot be approached casually." Long shook his head repeatedly. Shalan tilted his head and asked doubtfully, "Is it very strong? But it looks cute." "Don't underestimate it," Long said seriously. Please update for support and customization. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 721. The more Shalan looked at it, the less he believed it. Such a cute beast was so lethal? It doesn't match at all. She fiddled with her blue hair and said softly, "Little cutie, come here." The cat-eared girl suddenly liked this beast very much, and looked very cute at how furry it was. Although the hair of water cats is very long, it does not look like a drowned rat when it comes into contact with water. Instead, it looks like seals on the other side of the earth. The kind of fur is thick and warm, very similar to the otters on earth. In short, they are cute and adorable. It's better to stay away, no one knows what will happen, Yanhua warned. Nyojiao Niang held a saber in one hand and looked extremely serious, always prepared for emergencies. "I don't think it's threatening, and it looks a little scary." Shalan turned around and said, "Lily." The waterfowl kept making sounds and kept moving back. It seemed that everything on the boat frightened it. Most of these beasts live in water close to land. They usually look for food or sleep in the water and rarely come ashore, Long explained. He has been in the Haiu tribe for so long, and he still knows a thing or two about this aspect. What's more, living by the sea, you can often see some strange beasts, and his father even told him a lot knowledge in this area. So what do they usually eat? Is it food in the water? Shalan asked curiously. It seems that the cat-eared girl likes this beast very much and wants to know more about it. The cat-eared girl has been resisting the urge to rush up and hug it. She really wants to be touched. They are all shellfish, small fish, and shrimps in the water, and they are also animals that live in groups, but why is it the only one here now? Long puzzled. It looks like it's alone. Can we take it in? Shalan said immediately. The cat-eared girl was immediately captured by this beast, and she always wanted to keep it. No, it's too dangerous. What if it hurts someone? Long felt it was inappropriate. I think it doesn't matter, that little guy doesn't look very vicious. Yanhua helped the cat-eared girl to speak. Long held his forehead with one hand and sighed. It seems that none of you know how terrifying this beast is. He has seen it with his own eyes. The explosive power of water civets is no worse than that of those ferocious beasts. Lilili. The water creature kept making sounds and began to move slowly, as if it was preparing to attack. Be careful, everyone, it's about to do something, Long said quickly. Yanhua immediately grabbed the cat-eared girl and said rigorously, I think it's better not to get too close. But if we act like this, it will become more frightened, Shalan said worriedly. The cat-eared lady thinks that if she is left alone like this, she is afraid that she will become more and more irritable. It won't. Didn't I say it's a ferocious beast? Yanhua said immediately. Shalan still liked the water beaver very much. As if she didn't hear anything, she kept approaching the water beaver. Tap tap tap. The cat-eared girl was very quiet when she walked, for fear of making too much noise and disturbing the waterfowl. Lilili. The water creature also moved back, and the hair on its body began to dry and became fluffy. Don't be afraid, I won't hurt you, don't worry. Shalan said softly. She kept holding on to her long blue hair, for fear that it would suddenly fall apart and scare the other person. Poof! The water civet suddenly spurted out a long column of water and rushed straight towards the cat-eared girl. The cat-eared girl was also agile. She sensed the danger instantly and turned around to avoid the water column. Boom! This water column hit the mast directly, and a groove appeared on the mast. It was obvious that this water column was very damaging, and it directly made a groove in the thick mast. Shalan looked back and glanced back. Groove, her blue eyes widened in an instant, and she was a little lucky to have just dodged. If she had not dodged, she would have been seriously injured, and if she had hit a fatal place, she might have died. I told you, the damage is very strong. Long breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the water column just now didn't hit anyone, otherwise he would definitely be seriously injured now. Alan, please stay away from that beast, maybe it will spray water again later, Yanhua said immediately. Nyojiao Niang was very close just now, so she could see the water column very clearly. It doesn't matter, this water column should be the water it has always stored in the body. There is definitely no way to continuously spray out water columns. Shalan said immediately. You are right, it can only continue to spray out water jets if it returns to the water to store water, Long said immediately. Shalan is quite smart, and she can see the characteristics of this beast after analyzing it. She began to slowly lower her body and walk forward, not wanting to make her body look so tall. Don't be afraid, we won't blame you or anything. Shalan continued to talk to the beast. Puchi, Puchi. At this time, there were sounds of flapping wings in the sky, and a huge bird beast flew down. The beast's target was the water civet on the boat, and it flew straight towards it. How could the peak eagle allow some wild beasts to run wild on its territory? It immediately flapped its wings and took off. Ah, Brown, protect the water civet. Shalan said immediately. The cat-eared girl looked up and saw the beast in the sky flying down quickly, with a pair of extremely sharp claws. Fenying seemed to understand and rushed towards the beast that was just flying over. Shalan was worried that Ah Brown might not be able to stop him, so she rushed to the water beaver in a few steps, hugged him, and turned her back to the sky. Two hawk-like beasts have been fighting in the sky, with some feathers flying down from time to time. Ah Brown, just bite off its neck. We will have a feast of eagle meat tonight, Yanhua shouted. Horn Girl is used to it. When she leaves the tribe to go to the sea fish tribe, there will be either beasts in the water or beasts in the sky attacking. However, she saves the day every time, which is also the case for everyone. Be alert to the reason for standing on the ship's board. After a few minutes, the flying beast was obviously no match for the eagle and began to lose. Just when it was about to escape, the eagle grabbed him on the back and beat him hard. He fell onto the bed. Yanhua immediately took out his saber and rolled over, reaching out to cut off the beast's throat. Upon seeing this, Shalan picked up the water beaver and breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, we're fine. Lily. The water creature looked up at the cat-eared girl in confusion, and for a moment he forgot to struggle. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 722. The boat began to slowly approach the Yanlong tribe, and everyone got off the boat and walked back to the tribe. At this time, there was only a carriage waiting at the entrance of the tribe. Yanhua and others stepped onto the carriage. Tap tap tap. Half an hour later, we arrived at the downstairs of Yong'an building. Shalan followed the Niojiao Niang upstairs with the water civet in her arms. Woo, we are back. Yanhua blinked her red eyes and walked up to the second floor. Shalan also followed behind, holding the waterfowl tightly in her arms. It didn't struggle and stayed there obediently. How about it? Did you have fun these days? Subai asked. I had a lot of fun on this trip, Yanhua said happily. Niojiao Niang was naturally having fun. As long as she could go out of the tribe, she would be very happy. Me too, I have witnessed many different things. Shalan also said immediately. Subai saw the beast in the cat-eared girl's arms and wondered, is that your new pet you are holding? Yeah, just got it this morning and it's following me now. Shalan said happily. The cat-eared girl kept looking down at the water civet, and found that the round one was really cute. What's this beast's name? Where did you get it? It looks blue, Subai asked. This beast was a water beaver, and as we advanced on the river, Shalan happily explained the process. She originally wanted a wild beast, but after seeing Gun, a brown, and Yeju's wolf, she wanted one even more. It turns out that this is the case. It seems that this little guy started to like you because you saved it, Subai smiled. Yes, I think it is very cute and want to keep it. Shalan said without hesitation. The cat-eared girl is hugging her tightly and is unwilling to let go. She always feels very comfortable holding her. As long as you like it, if there is no threat, then keep it. Subai picked up the teacup and took a sip of tea. It's so cute and not threatening at all. Shalan said quickly. Let me cast some witchcraft on it, which will make it safer, Subai said. Shalan nodded repeatedly, walked over with the water beaver in his arms, and said, Thank you, Wu, that's what I thought. She felt that if she wanted the water beaver to follow her all the time, she would have to use witchcraft. Just like the peak eagle last time, it would obey her commands and she wouldn't have to worry about being too wild. How is the sea fish tribe doing this time? Subai asked, while using the taming skills on the water civet. Shalan kept looking at the water civet and said the sea fish tribe is managed very well. Although some people are not satisfied with being managed, the problems are not big. It's normal for some people to be unwilling to obey management. It will get better over time. Does everyone have a job over there? Subai continued to ask. Everyone has a job. Some reliable people are arranged to dry salt, and the unreliable people do hard work in the tribe. Shalan said immediately. Ken Subai retracted his hands and continued to ask, I asked you to teach them how to fish, did you teach them? Once taught, they learn quickly and can catch a lot of fish. Shalan nodded repeatedly. The way to catch fish is to use fish hooks and vine nets to catch fish in the sea. Of course, It can only be limited to those relatively close to the shore. If you go too far, you will be blown into the sea by the waves. So there is no way to catch fish of any size. The means of transportation they use to go out to sea is wooden rafts, so they have to be careful not to let the waves sweep them away. That's good. The most important thing is life safety. When more ships are produced in the future, they can go out by ship. Sudbai nodded. I also warned them about this. There have been incidents of being swept into the sea by waves before, and they know what to do. Shalan said immediately. However, it takes a lot of time to make a boat. The sea fish tribe may not be able to have a boat in a short time. Yanhua followed. Nyojiao Niang saw that the ship was very big and magnificent. It was not easy to build a second one. I have another idea that can temporarily alleviate the gap period of making large ships, Sudbai said with a smile. He had thought a lot about this. It was not enough to just wait for Lang to make the big boat. At the same time, we must also consider making small boats, which would be beneficial to the development of seaside tribes or riverside tribes. It's more helpful. Wu, what are you going to do? Shalan asked curiously. The cat-eared girl kept watching the water raccoon walking on the ground, and it seemed that she was full of curiosity about this place. We can first make some small boats. These boats do not have cabins and do not take too long to make. Sudbai put down the teacup and continued. It's not a problem for a small boat to take 2 or 3 people out to sea. What he was thinking about was the canoes on the other side of the earth, or the small fishing boats used by fishermen to go out to sea to catch fish. It is not a problem for 1 or 2 people to sit on these. Anyway, there is no way to catch a lot of fish at this stage. Small boats, it is enough to carry the load. It is not a big problem to arrange a boat for the sea fish tribe. Originally, the structure of the boat is similar to that of a raft, but the shape of the two is slightly different. Wu, what does the boat look like? Shalan asked curiously. With the impact of the big ship, they are now naturally curious about what the small ship looks like. Is it also possible to drive on the river for 3 days and 3 nights? Yanhua is also very curious. Ha ha ha, Sudbai smiled heartily and continued. It may be difficult to drive on the river for 3 days and 3 nights, but it is not a problem to go out to sea to fish and come back. The boat was not originally built to sail for a long time. Let fishermen fish better. It's impossible to let them risk their lives by taking a raft out, right? If you encounter larger waves, you will be swept directly to the bottom of the sea. It turns out that if you go back and forth fishing on the same day, you really don't need a cabin. Shalan nodded thoughtfully. Wu, if that's the case, wouldn't there be a need to use a sail? Yanhua continued to ask. Well, the boat doesn't need a cabin or a sail at all, it just needs a rough outline and 2 oars. Sudbai took out a design drawing from the table and handed it over. This design drawing was drawn by him a few days ago. At that time, he wanted to solve some livelihood problems for the Haiu tribe. This looks really simple. Shalan took the drawing and looked at it. Take it over and let Leng start making it. If the sea fish tribe performs well, then give it to them directly, Sudbai ordered. Yes. Shalan responded softly. Second update, please support and customize.